Oh no, it's not a slumber party.
This is a Guys Chill Out right here on The Cave.
Welcome back to another exciting week of The Cave Show. With your host, who always does the most, DJ Stones. And with me, in the red corner, weighing 250 pounds, wearing all black, with a white smile, DJ.
I don't know how to take that. Is that supposed to be a compliment? I mean, first of all, I'm not wearing all black. I don't know what's going on with DJ Stones today. And yeah. So yes, this is your boy DJ Cave right here on Active FM. And yes, this is us.
As always, every week, about to drop some nice topics for you guys, something nice and controversial for you guys to enjoy as you go into your week. So DJ, I almost called you DJ Stones. I almost thought that I was talking to myself,
Yeah.
This quarantine is getting to me. I almost spoke to myself. DJ Cave.
Yeah.
Tell them what is the topic for us.
So basically, we haven't put exactly a name to it, but our topic is going to be revolving around privacy and the privacy in between the parents and kids. And obviously we know that these days kids are requiring a lot of privacy and they want to be their own person, free in their own space, and that's what we are going to be talking about today. I don't want to reveal too much of the topic in this segment because yes, we have a lot of fire for you in the main topic. So I just want us to think about that privacy in between parents and kids. Obviously it's something that is common yet again, and it's an issue that parents are having to deal with their kids these days, and we just wanted to shed some light, especially us being young guys. We know what it is to actually want to have some privacy, and maybe your parents can't give that to you, or you in a situation where you're trying to, how can I say this, the struggle and you know what kids get up to these days, and you want to actually give the parents shed some light onto the parents on how to deal with such situations. And yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, and it's a very dope topic, I hope people really learn from this and they really take in what is being said. And again, if you want to challenge anything we're saying, you guys can find us on any of our social media platforms. We'll be ready to discuss this as well. Before we go into that topic, we're going to just, to give you guys something little to hear, then we're going to come right back in with a big bang.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
The wait is over. Hold on tight. We are in the overdrive.
Welcome. This is your favorite station. Stay tuned.
Turn up the volume.
3, 2, 1. Wanna see the light.
Let's go.
Active FM.
Yes. Active FM radio has never been better, and we are back, myself and DJ Stones, from that awesome segment. Now we are going to go into our topic. So we are speaking about privacy in between parents and children, and just to share with you, like I said earlier on, it's an issue that is ongoing. It has been there for generations. The only thing is that back then, knowing ourselves, for myself, I'm an African child, and growing up in an African background, there's not really such thing called privacy. Obviously, not that your parents will always be invading your space, but if you compare it to what we are facing nowadays, children basically they want to be their own person, they want to do their own thing. When they're in the room, you don't come unless they give you permission. And like I said, growing from an African background, there is no such thing. I mean, you live under your parents' roof, in their house, wearing the clothes that they bought you with the money that they worked for. There is no such thing as privacy. They enter your room whenever they want, and that's that. So just going from that even to like having privacy on your phone and just your whole entire life, there was no such thing. I mean, like I said, obviously you will get a little bit of space, but then if you compare it to nowadays, it's quite different. You're talking about two different stuff. So DJ Stones, what would you like to share on that?
Privacy to a specific point, yes, it is needed. As soon as I turn like 12 or even 10 or even 9, you should stop watching me. After I turned 6, actually, they should stop watching you. In fact, 5, I keep going lower. Very soon I'm gonna say 1. Yeah, but then the older you get, the less the less things they actually start getting into. So like, if you are a 16, 17, 18-year-old boy, and you're taking a bath, nobody must walk in, no matter who they are. They can't just walk in. See, things like that, it makes sense, right? But then there's certain privacies that a parent must not give to their kids. For instance, online privacy. They must know what is going on. They must know what's going on, what they're doing on the computers. They must know what they're doing on their phones. They must know who they're talking to. And these are very, very important things, because if they don't watch these things, their kid could be getting into something very, very dangerous, Their kid could be getting into a whole lot of nonsense without them even knowing. Their kid could be, for all they know, in a gang and they won't even know.
Yeah, just to add on that, I believe it should also depend on the type of child you have. I mean, that's also why it is important for parents to have a relationship with their child, so that they can know their children and know how their children behave, the type of characteristics they have, whether they're open, whether they're not. Then you'll be able to actually get a handle on your child, and you won't have to enforce too much privacy when it's not needed, and put less privacy when it's really needed. Because in knowing your child, that actually now gives you some insights as to where your child is. I mean, I believe that's going to help a lot. I mean, for a child that doesn't speak a lot, that is always keeping things to themselves, those are children that you see actually need more attention, because you are thinking that your child is fine and that's just how they are. They take care of themselves, when that is not the case. The child could be going through issues. Maybe they're depressed for any reason, or maybe they're up to bad stuff, like DJ Stone says. You actually want to know your child so that you can know the right type of privacy you want to enforce. And also, even as they grow, obviously the privacy that you'll give them is going to be limited, but it should be limited to a specific point whereby to say that, okay, this is the amount of privacy that you will get, but that does not stop me from coming to check on your phone. That does not stop me from coming to check your room, what is going on in your life. And obviously not limited to your kids' social life, because the people they hang around with and the people they're in contact with are actually the people that they're influenced by, or the people that they could be influencing. So that's actually something vital that I wanted to share.
Yeah. No, it's very important stuff, man. It's very, very important stuff. It's things that we should really be looking out there for. And it does not only extend to parents and children, even to older siblings and their younger siblings. You should be, because sometimes your parent is just too busy, to really go into your social life. Maybe your physical life, your non-digital life, they are in it. Like to see what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. They know where you're going. But your social life, that's a different thing. Some parents don't even understand how social media works, They don't really fully understand what you can actually do on a social media, and how much trouble you can actually get on a social media and on the internet, So it also, as a sibling, young or old, it's also very good that you are watching what your siblings are doing on the internet and not trying to copy it, but also find out that, if it's something bad, you start challenging them on the internet. You warn them, I'll go tell mom or dad what you're doing, because what you're doing isn't right, And you never know, because these are the type of things that could get people kidnapped. I remember we were watching a video one night at youth, and basically what happens was they're trying to show parents the importance of knowing what your kids are doing on Facebook, right? So this company that was doing this whole thing with the parents, what they did was that they created a fake Facebook account. Then they would send the child an invite. The child accepts the invite, and then they started chatting for some weeks. And then the person then says, let's meet up. So this is the company that's sending the message to that kid, like, let's meet up as a guy, right? So then she goes, she gets ready that day, tells her parents that she's going out with a friend, and yada, those dodging moves. And then as she goes out and meets at the site, that company comes in, they kidnap her. And then they take her back to the parents, and the parents are shocked. They're like, why would you want to go with a random stranger that you just met online and you want to go out with him? What if this was not a thing that we're doing with this company? What if it was an actual kidnapper? And you see, it makes you see that if you're not watching what the kid is doing online, they could be actually putting their life in danger. That's how bad it is. As much as we fight for our rights, we tell our parents, no, you can't be just lording over what I do on my social media, right? It's my social media. We need to be careful that we are not, we are stupid at times, and I'm speaking for the youth here. We are stupid at times. Sometimes we think we know what is right, but then we don't see the bigger picture. We're seeing ourselves be getting more friends and more followers on Instagram, more friends, more followers on Facebook, not understanding that it's actually a very dangerous thing, because somebody then starts chatting to you, you entertain the chat, and then boom, the person then kidnaps you because they're like, let's meet up. And you're like, okay, wait, let's meet up at the park or somewhere quiet. And if the parent doesn't know what's going on, it's going to be very deadly, because, the child just goes missing and they don't even know where the child is. And it's something that's very, very important. That's why, parents, like on a monthly basis, they must be asking their kids, what's going on your social media? Can I see? Until the kid is actually at a responsible age where for a certainty that no, they're not going to do this, because when you're young, from the ages of, when can you open up a Facebook account? From the age of like 13 till 21, 22, because from the 20s you are your own person. From the whole high school phase, so from 13 to 18, even maybe 19, you constantly need to know what is happening on their social media, especially now when they're going to other places like university and they're trying to fit in, because university is now a different ball game. So now they're trying to fit in and stuff, even there, but then you're not as strict as you were when they were in high school. When they were in high school, you want to constantly know what they're doing on their social media. When they hit an older stage, it's obviously less and less until they obviously become young adults, and now they have to face the consequences for all their decisions, But before that, you want to be knowing what they are doing. Yeah, that's my viewpoint on it. What's yours?
Yeah, so just speaking a little more about that, and obviously because this is the cave, we've mentioned a couple of times that this is like sort of like a guy's show. I just want to give like a guy's point of view on why would a teenager or adolescent in that sense need some sort of privacy, because we don't only want to give people the downside of the situation, but we also want to mention why would they need privacy and in which cases. So for example, like we said earlier, as your child is beginning to grow up, obviously there are a lot of different stuff that they begin to go through, and as much as they need to be guided and there needs to be a limitation of privacy, they also need to be allowed to actually grow in their own space. That's actually how they learn to be, for example, a man in certain cases, because there are some experiences you cannot teach. It can only be learned through experience. That's why it's called an experience rather. So if you do not allow your son or / daughter to actually experience childhood or to experience adolescence, then they won't have that. Now we have certain cases whereby we have this culture in the world where it's a Western culture thing where parents allow their kids to explore sexuality at a young age. And depending on the case, we've seen even in movies where parents are condoning kids learning about their sexuality and not necessarily allowing them to engage in sexual activity, but we see such things as parents allowing their kids to masturbate in order to get a sensation of what it feels like to have sex without actually having sex, which if you look at something like African culture, stuff like that, we don't actually tolerate it. And not only African culture, but I believe also in a Christian culture, we actually don't believe in such systems. So what do you have to say about that?
It's an interesting one, man, because look, it's wrong at the end of the day. It's very, very, very wrong. You know, you don't give kids that type of, they're not, especially when they're young, they're not yet ready for such an environment. They're not yet ready for such an environment. Therefore, you do not want them to be actually playing around in those environments, because maybe to you, you're thinking that you're just allowing them to do one or two little things, but in the background, they could be doing things that you would wish they were not doing. You know, one thing leads to the next. You know, like, you know, like you allow your kid to drink with you. You know, like, there's nothing bad is going to happen, not knowing that 5 years down the line, that kid becomes a bigger alcoholic than you. You know,
true.
You're allowing him to drink a specific amount with you when he's around you. Just the fact that he had that freedom at a young age, because you'd find out people actually allow this to happen even before the child reaches the age of consent, which is normally either 18 if you're in South Africa, 21 if you're in America. But then they would start giving it to them at a young age, like from 14, 15. I knew some people when I was back in high school who they started drinking with their family at the age of like 16. So not only did they get their ID, they also got their first bottle. That's what they told me. But then it's wrong, because now later down the line, you're putting them in a pattern and in a habit of drinking, which then grows and becomes worse and worse and worse and worse. And you already don't have a handle on them without the alcohol. Now imagine now you just gave them alcohol plus the fact that you don't have a handle on them. You're not with them 24/7. So you've given them a taste. You've given them a taste plus the privacy that they need to do it. So now when you are there, they'll probably just take a glass. When they're with their friends, you find out they have gone through 2 or 3 cases because of it. And now you're wondering, where did you go wrong? You went by there where you started with that small little place of compromise, you know, that small little place of compromise, and now it's become this bad. Yeah, that's my view.
So
on it.
I just wanted to share a little more on that too. So basically, in terms of privacy, once again, from my personal experience, obviously from my upbringing, I can't say that I was too controlled, because there was a point in my life where obviously I had parents watching over me and stuff like that, making sure that I'm in school, making sure that I'm doing my homework and I'm well behaved and stuff like that. But at the same time, at a certain point, like, there was actually not much control, if I may say. There were the basic stuff like I mentioned, making sure that I was in school, making sure that I'm doing my work and stuff. But there wasn't too much control, and which was only later in my life, where I remember growing up, I always wanted to go outside and play with kids. Not necessarily kids, but for example, if I wanted to go and play soccer, because I remember back in the days it was cool to play soccer in the streets, and hence I would like to play in the streets. And most of the guys that I played with were actually older than me. So not to say those, if I can track back, those guys were not actually negative influences. In actual fact, those guys were more, if I may say, positive influences, because they never persuaded me to do anything wrong or anything that was not of my age. In fact, I didn't have any of such discussions with them. The only thing that happened between me and them was soccer and soccer only, and I was always controlled, and I didn't like that, because every time I'd want to go out and play, they'll be like, no, you have to come inside. It's either too hot or it's school week, which that I understand, it's normal. During school week, you're not supposed to be outside, you're supposed to be studying. But that's the type of control that I had from a young age, and probably only when I started like reaching high school, not even in the beginning of high school, like I think after 9th grade or around, from 9th grade or after 9th grade, that's when I actually started to get a little more freedom. But even in that time, that freedom wasn't that much. But now I wasn't controlled as such, but then it affected me in different ways. Like, yeah, I just had more freedom, but like it was like a controlled type of freedom. So I don't know how to put it in words, but then yeah, so it was like quite interesting, because now after I got the freedom that I always wanted, it's like things were not necessarily the way I would want them to be. For example, with my schoolwork, everything started dropping. I wasn't the student that I was before, and the one who's always doing his work, the one who's always making sure that his stuff on schedule, on time, and being that child that I'm supposed to be. Instead, now, because I didn't have control, I wasn't the worst student, but at the same time I wasn't great and where I was supposed to be. That's obviously because of the lack of control. And so I truly urge parents to keep track of what's happening in their young teenagers' life, and just basically know what's going on with your kids. Do not be too lenient and do not be too harsh, or always apply the right measure. If you're not sure, maybe ask an experienced parent who could be a family member who raised up kids and you know that they're raised well. Just get some advice from them on how to do parenting. Obviously, don't go and ask someone who has never parented a child about parenting, because they have no clue. As you're listening from this show right now with myself and DJ Stones, you're probably wondering, well, we probably have no parenting experience. What do we know? Well, we are giving you perspective from young men and what we grew up from, stuff that we know, stuff that we learned. We're giving you a perspective of that. So that's why we are doing this show today. So yeah.
Yep, you said it right, man. You said it right. We're giving it from the perspective of the young and what we think.
Yeah.
Remember, again, if you guys want to challenge what we said, you are free to challenge it. You can go on any of our social media platforms. But then, for now, we're going to take a quick breather and we will be right back. Enjoy.
Live, right here on Active FM, we bring to you the Active Worship Inception album.
The joy of the Lord is my strength. I rejoice at your word, unfading. I feel set free instantaneously. I find myself in the presence of the Lord. Let my life be defined by your endless victory.
You can stream the album on Spotify and Apple iTunes. If you're interested in downloading the album, well, contact us for more info.
Welcome back to the exciting Cave Show with the host who does the most, even when he makes toast, DJ Stone.
Yeah.
And with me, you're gonna try this week, you know? You're gonna try to do a better intro than me.
Why are you always doing this? Like, you're putting me on the spot. Like, DJ Stones, I am not trying to do a better intro.
I think of these things on the spot. That is not an excuse, young man.
No. Okay. Yeah, like, man, I just like to keep it simple. I feel like it's just good like that, you know. Just put the right tone in it, and I think it's fine. I don't need anything extra, you know.
I feel like that's what you'll obviously say when you lose. So I'm not judging you, but we're gonna move on.
It's fine.
I'm here with DJ Cave.
The day will come when I'll come with a super awesome intro and you won't beat it for like years. So don't worry.
Never. I'll probably beat it the next show.
If you say so.
Okay, so we've come to the last segment of the show where we're going to wrap everything up. And you know, we've enjoyed speaking to you guys. So DJ Cave, tell them which platforms they can find us on.
So you can catch us on Instagram, which is at ActiveFM777. You can get us on Facebook, which is /ActiveFM. You can get us on Twitter, which is also at ActiveFM. ActiveFM has launched a new website, so you can check that out on www.activefm.co.za. That is our new website. And yes, we are on different social media platforms. You can also catch our shows on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, depending on which device you use. If you're an Android user, you're going to use Google Podcasts. It's an app that you can get on your Play Store. And if you're an Apple user, depending on whether you're using an iPhone, a MacBook, or an iPad, whatever it is, you can get it on your App Store. That's Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. Yes, we are also on Spotify. You can get us there. Yes.
Yeah. And from myself, the DJ that does the most, even when he's eating toast, I can't think of anything past that. Next week I'll have something past that. I promise. Yeah. DJ Stones.
I can probably come up with something faster than you, but I'm not gonna mention just because.
Of course you can. Of course you can. I must give you a trophy next week. Okay, so from myself, DJ Stones and
DJ Cave.
We will see you guys same time, same place next week right here on The Cave Show.
Yeah.
Peace.
You are listening to Active FM.
Active FM.